Can you talk about some of the key like tangible use cases of your platform and how businesses, which includes marketers and sales teams and whatnot, um, how they typically integrate ACT into their workflows?
Sure. It's interesting. Small businesses, their focus should not be on the tools that they use to manage their business. It should be on their business and their ability to maintain and grow those businesses profitably and economically. So with ACT, what we try to ensure that we enable for our customers is the ability to use our products and services in a simplified, effective manner so that it becomes part of their day-to-day life, no matter what your role. Many of the small businesses out in the universe, they wear multiple hats, whether they're managing their back office, their finance operations, their front office marketing and or sales. They've got a lot on their plate. And so what we've tried to do is make sure that we provided functional capabilities regardless of the role, whether it's in-house or outsourced, so that you can manage the engagement with a prospect and or customer seamlessly. So if you think about sales, if you're actively engaged in marketing your company and selling a product and or service, you want to be able to do things like quote, track that quote, bring that quote back in as an improved offer, be able to bill off of that quote accurately, and then obviously inform the product and or services that are needing to be fulfilled off of that quote. All of that can be done from a front end standpoint using ACT software. If you're on the marketing side, you're concerned more with your communication, your customer communication, your prospect communication, and you want to be able to not only be able to push out communication, whether it be through SMS or email, but also be able to monitor and then react to communication that's coming back either from a prospect or a customer. And so again, with ACT software, you have the ability to seamlessly manage that engagement bidirectionally so that you know someone opened that email, somebody read that email, somebody responded to that email, etc. Also on the front end, whether you be in sales or marketing, you want to make sure that you have clarity on engagement. So if someone visits your website, you want to be able to capture that. You want to be able to capture the information if they fill out a form interested in a particular product or service that you're offering, and then bring that into the customer or prospect records within your software seamlessly. You don't want to have to manually print off, re-record it. You want it to be able to be brought in and deposited and then alerted on that deposit of that information. If you're on the finance side, if you're concerned whether you're in-house, you're a solopreneur that does their own billing, you've got outsourced finance, or you may have a finance function in that small business. You want to be able to bill that customer. You want to be able to bring that payments back in, and then all of that information. You're not handling the actual accounting function, but you want to bring that into the customer records so that you have, again, one place, a single pane of glass, if you will, to be able to understand and manage that engagement around the billing function in accounts payable and accounts receivable. So those are some examples. There's a plethora of functional capabilities that can be automated using our software, even for the smallest solopreneur out there, so that they can function and automate all of that engagement and be able to then use ACT software to have a single source to be able to go and understand the engagement between that customer and or prospect, regardless of the discipline that they're examining.
How would you say your company is able to stay flexible and keep up with the changing industry trends and what customers are looking for?
So it starts with the premise of simplicity. And it's very easy if you think about a day in the life, it's very easy for an entrepreneur or a small business to get lost in administravia and forget or lose track of the amount of time they need to be spending on building and maintaining their business. So one of the key principles for us is to listen very closely to our customers, understand, if you will, what keeps them awake at night and what they're challenged by, and then bring that functionality into the product, but bring it in a simple and easy to use manner. I've used a number of different CRM tools over the years, and it becomes, with the added functionality, becomes a risk because of the complexity associated with the additional functionality. So what we've tried to do, we've incorporated very deep and rich capabilities in our software. Almost all of it has been driven by customer requirements, customer feedback. We've got, several million users of our software over those 40 years. and tens of thousands of companies that have all had input into where we currently sit with our product offerings. The priority has to be on utilization that's simple and easy to use. AI represents tremendous potential to automate functionality, to simplify functionality, but it won't replace the functionality. You still have to have the capability to manage that engagement with your customer and or prospect across those multiple disciplines, as we discussed earlier.
So could you continue to kind of describe like what makes ACT stand out, especially for small and mid-sized businesses and not just the enterprises?
Sure. I think one of the advantages I've got is I'm supported by our investors to maintain a high degree of engagement with our customers. Profitability is important. It's important to every business. But in our world, we have the opportunity to differentiate ourselves by partnering with our customers. And that's an often used term. But for us, what it means is being available so that our customers have the opportunity to engage with a human being, whether that be on their success side. How do I do this? Or I want to do this. Where do I leverage that functionality in my software? All of that is resonant in the ability to self-examine, but we also answer the phone. Every customer we have is assigned an account manager. That account manager's role is to ensure that that customer is supported in any way necessary to ensure their success through the use of our software. We also have live agents that answer the phone on the support side. So if you have a technical issue, if you're running on our thick client software in a local area environment, there's a significant amount of potential complexity in that environment. So the ability to support that customer through being able to pick up the phone, not just enter a ticket or self-examine for support, but actually being there to support them with tier 1 and tier 2 human beings is a major differentiator. Our product is fully automated, but in partnership, we also believe in being there with human beings that they can engage with. And most of our entrepreneurs, almost all of our customers, look to that partnership. That's why they've been here. Our average tenure is well over 20 years with our customers. They've been here because we have been their partner through good and challenging times for them. And we've tried to support them as best we can around their unique needs.
Now, for clients who aren't particularly tech savvy, how do you help them sort of understand and just get the most value out of the platform?
It's a great question. So one of the key principles, so our business is a recurring revenue SaaS, software as a service business. One of the key principles is the ability to deliver value to the customer as quickly as you can. So literally day one. The way we go about doing that is through customer onboarding, again, with live agents, specifically designed. They're given the use case from our sales team so that they understand the type of business the customer is in, what they're looking to accomplish short and medium term. And their role is in onboarding that customer literally on day one to ensure they understand the basics of using the product, and then they build out a roadmap of success with that customer so that that customer and the account manager can then work on increasing their level of aptitude around the use of the software. So in a very short period of time, they not only begin to use the product, but the sophistication around how they use the product grows at their pace appropriate for their business.
So how do you handle the needs of clients experiencing maybe rapid growth? And what kind of mechanisms do you have at play?
Sure. So a key part of it is the offerings that they can take advantage and leverage. The functional capabilities are virtually the same, whether you're just getting started as a small business or you're scaling. The difference is the level of sophistication, the depth, if you will, as to how you want to go about using that product and or capability. So our products offer two different ways. And as I've alluded to, we support with human engagement that a customer, as they're scaling, even if it's hyper scaling, they have the ability to consume more of the product. That simply changes the level at which they're engaged in terms of their subscription rate. But functionality is there. So if they're fortunate enough to be in that hyperscale environment, not only is the functionality there that they can deepen their sophistication around, but you can scale very rapidly through simply using the product more effectively. And then Your account manager will work with you to upgrade you to the next level of consumption, around whatever functionality it is that you happen to be using. So, we like to believe that we bring very sophisticated capabilities in a simplified fashion to the beginner, to maybe those organizations that don't have the technical support or the operational ability to focus on our software. And we replace that with our own engagement, and then we scale with that customer accordingly.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, how are you responding to today's changing economic climate and the impact it might have on small business in particular?
I think it's interesting, and we're hearing more and more, given the uncertainty that you alluded to, in particular in the US, but in other parts of the world as well, that small business does not have the same level of flexibility that perhaps a larger organization may have to be able to absorb some of the ebbs and flows of economic cycles. And so downturns in their business and pressure on their business economically represents far greater risk to the SMB than perhaps a larger organization. Our capabilities are such that you can expand or contract based upon your requirements and do that very cost effectively. Typically, if you want to look at a spend you may have on the OpEx side in your business, say for marketing automation, you may be using other products and or services that you spend money on. You have the ability to consolidate that spend and leverage that. Now, we don't promote, or we certainly don't market and manage to those replacements, if you will. But when you look at the functionality in Axe Advantage platform, you have the opportunity to consider the replacement of considerable operational spend and exposure and consolidate that into our platform in a way that provides material economic advantage and reduction in the operational exposure that you may have. The functionality is going to be very similar, and depending on your level of sophistication, I think that there's opportunity that you can consider the use of Act in replacement of other technologies in other parts of your business that you can then materially improve on the operational performance of your business accordingly. For me, one of the most important attributes is the software that we just brought to market encompasses 20 years of development, all fed by customer requirements. And so, it's easy to get lost in the hyper aspect of building cool tech. And I think a lot of my competitors in the CRM space, they've got some really interesting approaches to the technology. But what our kind of secret sauce has been is that our product offerings all are gauged on customers specifically asking for this type of functionality in this way, whether it be in finance or marketing or customer support, so that it best supports their needs and isn't just about cool tech, but actually brings functional differentiation into their business, which is what kind of drives our success, is the ability for our customers to realize value, not act to realize value.
I'm curious what your view is of AI as a whole and how it'll impact the world, and maybe even just focusing on the business world. How will it impact small businesses?
Sure. I think AI in its current instantiation, and certainly as it evolves, it'll become better and tighter and more effective, automates a significant amount of redundant functionality that allows you to become far more efficient in the way you go about leveraging technology. The key is for us in the SMB space is not to overwhelm our customers with the use of AI, but present it in the product and as adjunct capabilities so that they can leverage at their own pace in a manner that's appropriate for their technical skills, their acumen, their interest, etc. Much of the way we leverage AI today is centered around extracting value and presenting it to our customers in different ways, whether it be about their customers, whether it be about technology evolution, and whether it be around process. We're using AI tools to bring all of that forward in a manner that our customers can consume. And then obviously supporting that with the human engagement as we've discussed. I think AI represents enormous potential, but it's not going to replace, the engagement aspect of our customers with their addressable market, whether it be prospect or their customers. And I think our role is in bringing AI forward through the use of our tools in a manner that it doesn't overwhelm our customers, doesn't intimidate our customers, but effectively puts them in a position of control and allows them to dictate the pace at which they adopt and leverage the potential of our software accordingly.
Do you have any upcoming exciting updates or new features or partnerships that users can look forward to?
We just released a product called Act Advantage, which is an expansion of functionality with our cloud capabilities. Within Act Advantage, there is a significant, I think there's 13 new modules that allow customers to consider value in different areas of their business. Again, solopreneur that may outsource certain functionality up to 100, 200, 300 user accounts. That was a big step forward. That was the culmination of a couple of years of work bringing all of that customer knowledge together in an integrated platform. The next step for us is to bring that functionality to our thick client environment and our thick client customers, where for unique reasons to them, they want to stay in a localized environment. They don't want to run, their CRM capabilities in the cloud. So what our job now is to bring that type of functionality to them in a unique environment. And that's, stay tuned on that. I would encourage you to take a look at where we are right now, given we just launched Advantage last month. But I think in the coming months, what you're going to see is that type of product related functionality come across out of the cloud into our local area environments as well.